You asked for it. Here it is. It's a podcast from Apathetic Enthusiasm.
Coming to you live from San Diego Comic-Con, Hall H, where a new show, Rick and Morty, is premiering to anxious fans. Rick and Morty, of course, being the spin-off series of the hit superhero spoof, Vindicators. I know this is confusing, what? But this is Interdimensional RSS, the unofficial Rick and Morty podcast.
Live the tape, ladies and gentlemen. How's it going? I'm Travis.
I refuse to do it again. I will never do it again.
This is a one-take podcast.
Confusing
says. Yeah, I'm Travis. He's Brandon. Welcome to Interdimensional RSS, the unofficial Rick and Morty podcast. So happy to be with you, bringing you fresh, peak content for all you Rick and Morty fans.
Hot off the digital presses, so to speak.
Hot off them YouTubes. Yeah. We're excited to be here. Excited to be back. Sorry we've been gone for so long. We want to keep these shows real, fresh, spicy. Not too spicy. We're gonna keep it low on the Scoville units. But yeah, if you miss us while we're away, there are plenty of ways that you can keep up with the things that we're doing all across the internet. You can follow this show over on Twitter at Rick and Morty Pod, or on Facebook, facebook.com/Rick and Morty Podcast. We are over on Instagram, Rick and Morty Podcast over on Instagram. Or you can send us an email with your questions, comments, concerns, complaints. Rick and Morty Podcast at gmail.com. We are over on Reddit. rickandmorty.reddit.com is the official subreddit. Or you can find us at rickandmortypodcast.reddit.com and our website, rickandmortypod.com. We are currently streaming live out onto the internet over at twitch.tv/Apathetic Enthusiasm. And if you cannot join us over on the live show, you can catch video episodes of our podcast over at youtube.com/Apathetic Enthusiasm. Finally, you can support the show, support us, support all of our podcast endeavors over at patreon.com/Apathetic Enthusiasm. Thank you to our patrons. You the real MVPs.
You are the most valuable people because there's more than one of you. Most valuable, plural, maybe is what MVP stands for.
Sure.
I don't know. MVP
most
squared.
Valuable patrons?
If you say plural people, does that mean there's double the amount of more than one person?
Peoples. Peoples.
Yeah.
Yeah, pupils.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's all of the official business out of the way.
That was it.
Yeah, that's it.
How are you doing, Travis?
I'm great. I'm good. Yeah. Honestly, in terms of the richness and fullness of podcast content, we're in rare form. We had to have an actual discussion today about what we would talk about, and not like the usual conversation where we're like, hey, let's really figure out something to talk about. No, we had to break things down. We had to split it out across multiple weeks. It's quite a time to be a podcaster.
Yeah, that's so weird. That's so weird when it comes, especially when it comes to Rick and Morty content. We're like, oh, we gotta time some stuff out.
That's right.
Well, do we do it now, or do we wait a week, or do we maybe if we wait like a week and a day, then that's when Adult Swim will release the new information. So then we're like ahead of it, and it doesn't go to comicbook.com before.
Yeah, no love lost there. Anyway, yeah. So I'm excited. I'm excited to do this show. I'm excited to talk about Rick and Morty some more. And I'm excited because we actually got to see some new Rick and Morty content, which we, of course, will get to a little bit later. But before we do, we, of course, have to get into our very first segment, which is, and always has been, semi-pertinent news.
Scrat, 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 scrat. Scrat, 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 semi-permanent, scrat, scrat, semi-permanent, scrat, scrat. News. Sorry. I forgot the news part. The semi-permanent news. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. I'm Brandon, and we've got a fantastic segment for you this week. I know we've been away for a while. I think our last episode was in early June.
So long ago.
Now we are at the very, very end of July. It's fantastic.
Feels like a lifetime.
Feels like a lifetime. It feels like it goes so fast. Time does. Which brings us to our first bit of semi-pertinent news. There was there are fast people in this world, Travis. You know there are fast people, just
so
like
fast.
Time. And football players / soccer players are some of the fastest people in the world.
Yeah,
bar none. No hands down because they'll get a penalty.
They're not allowed to use their hands.
Exactly. And so Adidas and Rick and Morty, they have partnered up for very, very specific niche.
Real quick, I want our international listeners to chime in, right? So if you're listening to this, hit us up on Twitter. We want to know, how do you pronounce this brand name? We just heard Brandon say Adidas. I've also heard it pronounced Adidas.
Adidas. Oh.
Yeah. So very curious, very curious. Somehow phonetically, let us know how you pronounce this shoe brand. Yeah.
Odd DOS. CD space C : / EIR. All right. Yeah. Okay. So tell us how to pronounce that. Call to action. Go to Twitter, Rick and Morty Pod, and let us know how to pronounce Adidas. Okay. So Adidas, and Rick and Morty, they partnered up for a very specific niche merchandise gig, which is the Rick and Morty football / soccer shoe, cleat, whatever you call them. I call them.
They're the X Speed Portal soccer boots.
Ooh, the foot harnesses. I call them
foot harnesses.
And they had posted a few different tweets leading up into the announcement of the actual partnership. There was, it could have been just a regular sneaker. It could have been a boot, maybe. I don't know if Adidas makes boots. Could have been anything. But then they came out with the announcement along with a short Rick and Morty kind of commercial where Rick takes Morty, sees that two soccer players are getting their essence sucked out from them.
But they're consensually being sucked, so to speak,
into these soccer shoes, and then Morty goes and he wins a game, and then that's basically it. These shoes are available if they're not sold out.
It's a commercial. What do you mean? This was a commercial the whole time?
They're available for sale, and you can get them if you like soccer. But that's why they're niche, is because if you don't play soccer, then you're just buying these things just to put on your shelf.
Yeah, and they're very like bright portal green shoes.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, honestly, if you're playing a little bit of the old footy, right?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not a bad look. Especially if you're like the pro player on your team and you need your feet to really stand out so that people in the cheap seats can see all your sweet soccer moves.
You put your feet up on the chair in front of you and be like, "Ooh, look at mine."
I wonder how many of our international listeners were just alienating by every time we say soccer.
Well, that's why I kept saying football / soccer.
Okay.
And I said football first
Sure.
soccer, just to honor their memories.
Yeah. I mean, if you haven't figured out we're stereotypical Americans by now, I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, these are really cool looking boots, shoes, if you will, and very cool that Adidas teamed up with Rick and Morty to put these together. So if you're looking for them, good luck. They're out on the internet, and hopefully you can find yourself a pair. If not, at least you can watch a very short Rick and Morty story over on YouTube, where if you want to watch this commercial.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for that, Travis.
Sure.
All right. Well, so in the intro, we talk about being at a Hall H at San Diego Comic-Con. Well, good news, fans. San Diego Comic-Con was in fact this last week. And there was no big Rick and Morty stuff that necessarily came out of that. But Justin Roiland had a few tweets out there while he was out in San Diego.
Tweeting them out.
And he had a very unique deal, and I think there was like some kind of game him and some other folks were doing, where he had a list of toys, and if somebody brought one of those toys to him at a certain table, then that person would get exclusive Rick and Morty art, and that was really a kind of unique thing. Did you happen to grab a screenshot of that, Travis?
I didn't, but I bet the power of Google can help me out.
Oh man, we are prepared for this. I think I might have sent a screenshot to you in Facebook, but
probably.
Yeah, but why would we do that?
Yeah.
I've got it up here. So toys like a Tamagotchi, a Con exclusive, a Lego NES console / TV, Mattel Mario Kart Princess Peach, Mattel Minecraft Diamond Steve, Jazzwares Micro Machines TIE Fighter exclusive, the NECA TMNT Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4-pack pre-mutation, the Lego Massive AT-AT, AT-AT. By the way, he put A period, T period, at. So maybe he says it AT-AT.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Mondo Rick and Morty statue, the NECA Gremlins 2 Wedding Greta, and the Thing action figure. 2 things on that one. Well, I was like, oh, I can get you that Gremlins 2. But the Thing action figure, I unfortunately don't have. And then finally, the Mondo 12-inch Man-Thing figure. There were only 10 drawings available. First come, first serve. And then he says, I love you.
Yeah, this is an interesting, I don't know, this is an interesting deal, right? And if you see this artwork, right, these are 10 original Rick and Morty artworks. So this is peak Roiland Rick and Morty, right? This is a Roiland drawing. It is not the super clean, polished TV version of the characters that you would see. So some of them are a little bit more wiggly, right? And some are a little bit more I don't know, creepy to look at. But he's written jokes and things. So there's some dialogue and little voice bubbles and things for all of these drawings as well. So I didn't see the follow up on this. Do you know if anybody brought him some toys?
I was looking through his tweets and replies. I didn't see any follow ups with that. So maybe some observant, eagle-eyed listeners can go out there to Twitter and find out if anybody got anything from him.
How do you feel about this sort of I don't know, like somebody like Justin Roiland like asking people to bring him toys? I mean, I understand like he's probably like sitting at a booth. He probably can't wander the show floor without going into some sort of disguise or something because he's Justin Roiland. He'll get mobbed and not be able to like walk around. So it is kind of a and obviously those drawings have value, right? Like an original Justin Roiland drawing is gonna have an associated value with it, I would think.
Yeah, I mean there's it's just like meeting any famous person. There's some experience value from meeting them, and then like just the story being told about the drawings, right? Like I got him a Lego AT-AT for Comic-Con, and he gave me some artwork. Right? That's pretty cool.
I don't assume that these toys are like particularly like overly valuable, right? Like they're probably like just like he's not asking for like $500 like action figures, is he?
Well, depending on what version of that Rick and Morty Mondo statue, it could be if you wanted the deluxe one, then that's going to cost more than just a standard version. But he did say very much not expecting that AT-AT to happen, but had to try. We have bets going.
Yeah, which could be fun, just hanging out in the booth.
Similarly, not part of the game, but he also put out a tweet. I don't know if we put this in the bones, but I'll talk about it because I thought that was interesting too. He lost his pen, and it says Justin Roiland on the pen.
Personalized pen.
And he says, if anyone finds his pen, please bring it to the limited run booth, and they'll give you original art by me, as well as I'll get your contact information, and I'll send you something very valuable / rare. It was lost near the Lego booth or near the 700 block of Comic-Con on Wednesday night. So
It's a very special pen.
no follow-up on that either. But if you saw that, like I think I retweeted it. I'm like, get this man his pen.
Get the pens.
But people love their pens. I know you love your pens, Travis.
I do. I've been recently using trying out the Sharpie brand S Gel pens. This is a 0.7 tip, and it's a smooth write, and it's I don't know, it's working out so far. We'll see. Still test driving it.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
if anybody finds this pen and can bring it to my walk-in closet at my place of residence, I will trade them a
police report.
A police report. Yeah, exactly.
Do not come to my house.
I'll give you a 3D printed figure.
That you have to paint yourself.
Yeah, jury's still out on whether or not I'll paint it for you, but my painting skills are improving, ladies and gentlemen.
That's
they
good.
are. Dare I say?
All right. What else have we got in regard to semi-perts?
Just a few other small notes. Warner Brothers, in their colossal grab at any type of semi-relevant franchise within their sphere of influence, is releasing their Multiverses game. This is sort of like a Super Smash Brothers type fighting game, but starring all of the characters of Warner Brothers franchises. So you've got classic Looney Tunes characters. You've got I think Scooby-Doo characters are in there. There's LeBron James, the classic Warner Brothers character, LeBron James.
Classic. Yeah.
But along with the LeBron James announcement, we also got confirmation that Rick and Morty will be available as playable characters within this game. We don't know exactly when they'll be available in the game. Apparently, they may not be available at launch, but yeah, they have been announced as actual characters in the game.
I think let me go back through my tweets and my retweets and see what we got here. Okay, yeah, I did it. If you go to Rick and Morty Pod on Twitter, I tweeted it some way time. For example, I said, "Get your jam. It's the jam. It's the space jam." For the announcement of Rick and Morty and LeBron. But it says here, Rick Sanchez will use his portal gun in the battle and can summon Meeseeks, while Morty will join Multiverses armed with projectiles and counter moves. Morty will be available when Multiverse Season 1 begins on August 9th. Rick will be a part of the game's first season, but release was not announced yet. So
there you go.
Morty will come out right away. He'll be there. Yeah. Oh, geez.
But his grandfather will be off somewhere in space, and then eventually he'll show up, right, and just act like nothing happened and just be part of the family.
Yep.
Even though, he doesn't really explain where he's been that whole time. Classic Rick stuff.
Classic. That's what the game will just turn into, Rick explaining things. for every system across the world.
Beth becomes an NPC, not a playable character, but she just kind of walks around the map and complains about her abandonment issues, and it's a feature. It's
Oh, what if Jessica starts off as an NPC, right? Not playable, no agency, and then all of a sudden she comes out and she's a playable character.
As a Time Lord. Uses Time Lord skills.
Yeah. What do you gonna get that game? I'm gonna try it out because I think it's free.
If it's free to play, I'll check it out. But I don't know. I'm in a weird lull after binge playing Diablo Immortal for a while, and then completely moving away from it. So I'm not really playing many games on my phone right now. I could try it out. I mean,
well,
seems
if it's
alright.
if it's cross-platform, we've got to try it out. We got to stream it one of these nights
Oh,
for
absolutely.
Rick and Morty, International RSS. All right.
Morty v. Morty.
Ooh, ultimate. My kid was like, I know who you're going to play as, Dad. I was like, oh, yeah, who? He's like, Rick. And I said, I'm going to be Morty. He's like, oh, what? And then he punched me right in the grapes. We call them grapes. And grapes mean balls, right? And
Oh, okay, yeah.
in the Cruz household, it's like, I'm going to punch you right in the grapes, not the balls, because that's a kind of a raunchy thing, right? But
Sure.
grapes. Everyone loves grapes.
Yeah. And you can keep your grapes nice and smooth with Manscaped.
Manscaped. Use the new Weed Whacker.
Why do you still have that on your desk? We recorded that ad like 2 months ago.
It's my nose trim because I'm like, oh, usually I only know when I'm with you.
Oh,
that
just gotta check some emails, trim some nose hairs. No big deal. All right. In the ongoing saga that is semi-pertinent news, we have a couple of sub-subjects to get to. The first, of course, being the Reddit post of the week.
Oh yeah, thank you for reminding me. The Reddit post of the week. Yes, we real quick. There was a lot of news. Turns out for semi-pertinent news, because there's another thing I remembered that we didn't include. But Reddit post of the week this week is titled "The Most Legendary Commercial Rick and Morty Will Ever Do." It is posted by NeilDude3 with 22.7 thousand upvotes. It is the Rick and Morty commercial for Pringles, which I think there's a couple comments in there talking about that being one of the most memeable pieces of Rick and Morty, and it's not even part of the show, like in the actual show, right? Because you see, like when Rick rips open the wallpaper and it shows Pringles.
Yeah, yeah. They have used that as a template for all sorts of other sorts of memes.
Template. That's a good word for it. Yeah. I don't know what other word you'd use for it, but that's a good word for it.
Sure.
But yeah. So there's not really much to this. It's not new. You've probably seen the commercial. If you haven't, please go watch it. It is cool. It's funny. It may have been at the Super Bowl, whatever. It has a couple of reports, and this is what I want to talk. This is the important thing about this. this Reddit post of the week. A couple of reports. 4 reports of this is spam, because it's been posted on that subreddit before many times.
Yeah.
Let's see. 1 for it is involuntary pornography and I do not appear in it. 1 report for it threatens violence or physical harm, which makes sense. There's robots and the Pringles. And then finally, it's sexual or suggestive content involving minors, which is, after Dan Harmon's stuff way back in the day with this Dexter parody, people still think that he's a pedophile. So
yeah. Also, if you're a fan of Harmontown, then the whole Pringles dick thing is that's
yeah.
I know that's what I always think of with Pringles now.
I mean, that's a good point. But I will say that basically every post gets a report of it's sexual or suggestive content involving minors. It just ever since he tried to
it's one of those meta things that could like only really exist on the internet, right? Because like those reports get seen by a handful of moderators on that subreddit and go nowhere else, right? So like, hey, I'm gonna be the guy that always reports every post on the subreddit for improper, content, and it's just gonna be my thing. And sneezing is my other thing.
Yeah. So you are. Okay. So before we get into your shining moment of this segment, I know we're 25 minutes into the show. A couple real quick things. At Comic-Con, they talked about a show called Little Demon that's coming out, which is Danny DeVito, Aubrey Plaza, and Dan Harmon executive producing. That's coming out. And so that's cool. Harmon, spreading his talent all over the place for stuff.
Proverbial wings, if you will.
That's right. That's right. I made a really really half-assed Morty impression a couple minutes ago. There is a video that I retweeted from Vanity Fair, I think, where Justin Roiland is watching people do impressions of Rick and Morty characters and then critiquing, giving feedback, and he's very nice about it most of the time. Like there are really good ones. He's like, oh, he's like very really close. If they just put like a little more effort in like some of this stuff, yada yada. But then other people who aren't good at all, like, well, you can keep working on it.
Hey, keep working on that. That's fine.
I like him. So, anyways, those two that video and that cartoon, and of course, Travis, when I talk about Dan Harmon, there's something that you love to talk about, and you'll get into this other aspect of something coming out here in the Dan Harmon Social Media Minute.
Dan Harmon, he's posting some pictures. He's out at the Comic-Con and drinking some brewskis. It's the Dan Harmon Social Media Minute. He's doing some cool stuff. I thought Brandon was gonna ruin my segment with what he was talking about.
It was very hard not to. I was like, don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it.
You talk about it. It's the Dan Harmon Social Media Minute. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here it is. The social internet is abuzz, and Dan Harmon is hanging out at San Diego Comic-Con, of course, talking about all of the projects that he's involved with, except for Rick and Morty. And this post, this is more of a business post, right, for Dan Harmon. This is a picture of the poster for Crapopolis, which is from Dan Harmon, co-creator of Rick and Morty. This is part of the Fox Animation Domination Sunday night, coming to Fox in 2023.
Oh,
so we're
like X-Men 97.
We're like more than a year away, because I think the September of 2023 is when we're supposed to get this. But this is a show that is so far ahead of its time, it had to be set in ancient Greece. Crapopolis is the newest show on the Fox Animation block chain, coming 2023. And so basically what this is a show that takes place in ancient Greece. There's some really kind of bizarre characters. There's some mythical characters and things like that. There's a fish-looking guy that has his head in some sort of fish tank. But the really intriguing thing to me is that comment of the blockchain, right? So if you're familiar with cryptocurrency, if you're one of those hip dudes that's put all your money into crypto and is now having a really hard time with that, the NFTs are a whole part of that blockchain thing, right? And so there's something going on with this show with like NFTs where they're like curating parts of the show from non-fungible tokens, or they're selling like characters from the show like as NFTs or something. It sounds like a great time to really leverage this idea as the entire crypto market is crumbling all around us. But, maybe it'll be great.
Maybe it'll be great. Maybe I'm glad that I diversified my portfolio into various stocks and bonds versus my life savings into crypto or NFTs. No, I mean that's cool, I guess. But
That's
I mean,
fine.
are you gonna try to invest
In Crapopolis? Probably not.
No.
Probably not.
Yeah.
There's also one other post that I'll share very briefly.
Okay.
But it is of them at Comic-Con, and it's kind of hard to tell at first, but it's a video, and it's like Dan's taking it with his camera, and he keeps yelling, "Hey, cool Schraub, cool Schraub," and nobody's like looking, right? But there's a guy off in a doorway who looks very much like Rob Schraub, but he's in a suit, and he's got a mask on, so it's like, COVID safety, of course, but like I can't tell for sure whether or not it's Schraub. But he just keeps yelling "Cool Schraub" at this guy, so I don't know if it's actually Rob Schraub and they got him in a suit, or if it's just a guy that looks like Schraub, like the cool version of Schraub.
Yeah.
And Dan's been trying to out him over at Comic-Con.
Yeah, maybe like he thinks it's a Rob Schraub cosplay. So he's like, "Cool Schraub, cool Schraub."
That could be it. That could actually be it. So anyway, lots of fun out at Comic-Con with Dan Harmon. If you want to follow Dan Harmon, make sure you're going over to Instagram because he's not really anywhere else. At Dan Harmon over on Instagram. That's your Dan Harmon social media minute.
Woo!
And that
is our episode.
is our episode. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. No, that's semi-pertinent news. Unless you have any lingering news stories that you wanted to cover, Brandon.
No, now I can't think of any. So
Perfect.
I think we should just move on.
We have done it, ladies and gentlemen. We promised at the beginning of the show. So without any further ado, let us get into the true purpose for being here. It is time for the main thing.
I was using the mouth harp for the main thing, as you know. The twangy thing that they use. It's a very dynamic instrument. I went ahead and invested one. Since I diversified, it means I had money left for
for mouth harps. The only thing that would have made that better is if you'd had an actual mouth harp. Like if you just pulled it out, like.
I like the entire time doing a shitty
mouth
mouth harp,
but you didn't know how to play it. You were just giving it your best effort. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, it is
saxophone, saxophone.
It is the main thing, and yes, we do have content to talk about. Arguably, an entire episode of content to discuss. That's right. The Vindicators are back. Released on the 23rd of July to Adult Swim's YouTube. The 10-episode series of shorts, season of shorts. Vindicators 2, it's out. Vindicators, The Last Stand Between Earth and Doom. We talked to the creators of this web series many moons ago. It feels like forever ago. I should have done my due diligence and looked up what episode that was because I meant to as I was writing these notes. But
it was last year sometime that we ended up talking to them. To Sarah and Erica. I'm trying. I had it recently because I retweeted it because I was excited that we knew that coming from San Diego Comic-Con that they were about to release all of that stuff. So regardless, Travis, you'll find it. One of us will find it throughout the course of this episode. But it's actually released now. So the 10 episode web series is out. I don't know how surprised I was that it was all out at once or not. But it kind of makes sense because they are so short because they're like 2 minutes to 3 minutes each. And so if they were to try to spread that out over a season, people would be like, what the shit was that? Right. But instead, they're not what the shit is that. They are, whoa, cool.
Whoa, cool. Yeah. It was almost it was over a full year ago, June 14th, 2021, that episode came out with Sarah and Erica, entitled Vindicators Interview with Sarah Carbiner and Erica Rosby.
June 2nd of 2021, as a matter of fact.
It just says 38 for the number. I don't know our numbering scheme. It's all wonky. But yeah, it's I agree with you. I was, especially because of some of the mixed reviews and mixed feedback that the original Vindicators episode got when it aired, I was very curious to see what the response would be to these digital shorts. And I gotta say, the comments so far, there's been some good ones. They've seemed mostly positive. So
yeah, Where were you looking at the comments? Were you on
On the
Reddit?
YouTubes.
Oh, the YouTubes. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
I do have the Reddit up, so I'll pull some comments from that as we go on. But let's go ahead and talk about the web series a little bit. So air date 2022, July 23rd, written by Sarah Carbiner and Erica Rosby, directed by Mike Garcia.
At least the first one was. I didn't check every single one, but
There's
the first episode was.
there's a few different directors on there. Apologies to all the fantastic directors, and let me, as an aside, all the animators too, because it is Rick and Morty level quality as far as the
Absolutely.
animation goes.
Yeah.
Some cool designs, some unique stuff in there. But anyways, our Bronopsis. Vindicators are back, bruh. That's it. Prequel to
What else?
prequel.
What else can you say, right?
You can say a lot,
You
but
can't say a lot.
it's not pertinent to this.
Nope. But basically, the synopsis of these 10 condensed episodes, if you have not gotten a chance to watch them yet, basically this is like a prequel to Vindicators 3. So that's somehow like a sequel to Vindicators 1, but like,
Right. Yep.
yeah, it lives there somewhere in the space in between. But in this episode, we see how the Vindicators were able to beat Doomnometron and learn a little bit more about this team of heroes. So yeah, little bite-sized nuggets, right? Little bits of Rick and Morty-esque content. As you mentioned earlier, only about like 2.5 minutes on average for each of these episodes. So it's just enough to kind of like set up a premise, get a couple of good jokes in, and then like close it out, right? It's you're in, you're out, and then you're on to the next one. So like I don't want to fully like try to break down each episode or each short, because at that point we're just like describing the 2.5 minutes to you. But I will rattle off for you, the listening audience, the 10 titles of these episodes, and also let you know which of the Vindicators those episodes tend to focus on, right? So we start off with Rick Can Handle It, and this is sort of a reintroduction to the full team. And then Pronouns kind of focuses more on 1 Million Ants. The Dance is a Crocubot episode and a personal favorite of mine. Out of Gas gets back into Alan Rails. First Love is the Noob episode, so thankful for this one. Mercy Kill, Supernova, and Vance Maximus star. Girls Night, again, sort of focuses on Supernova as well as all of the female and Diablo Verde characters from the team. And then Kintsugi, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but that's an Alan Rails episode. And then Little Trains, Supernova, and Alan Rails. And then finally, we'd wrap it all back up with Heroes, which has the whole team back together, at least what's left of them. So, watch. How did you consume these episodes, Brandon? Did you just fire up a playlist on YouTube, or were you clicking around? What was your strategy for watching these?
So I saw I think I saw the tweet, or I saw it somewhere where it said Vindicators 2 is out. And so I clicked the link and went to YouTube, and it took me to like episode 2 right off the bat. I'm like, whoa, slow down.
Hey, no spoilers. Jeez.
Whoa, cool cat. Quit it, cool cat. And my cat was like, sorry.
I'm out. I quit.
I quit. And I gave it its final check, and it went on. I wish it the best of luck. Anyway, so I'm like, okay, well, so I clicked the little hashtag on there on the YouTube channel and said Vindicators, and it took me to the playlist. And I'm like, okay, cool. I went to the watch playlist, and I started from episode 1. I got through episode 1, and then I paused, and then I copied the link to the playlist, and I sent it to you, and I made a really half-assed Vindicators moderator post in the Reddit. So much so, I have 133 upvotes. That's it. 95% upvote rate, though. Let me say.
That's quite the ratio, though.
It's kind of, and so once I saw there were 10 episodes. I'm like, oh crap! I don't have time. I don't know if I have time on Saturday to watch all of them. And then I realized, oh, they're only like 3 minutes at the most each. Let me just get through them, because essentially you put them all together, it is an episode of Rick and Morty, right?
Yeah.
Less if you skip all the credits.
Sure.
So I will say I did watch through the credits on a couple episodes just to see if there's any extra post stuff. But really, all it does is just send you to the next episode. Okay.
Yep.
What about you?
Yeah, for some reason I didn't seem to spot the playlist the first go round on Saturday. So I was clicking around to each episode, and it was weird because you know how YouTube will have those links at the end of episodes that like suggest other episodes for you to watch.
Yeah.
And typically if you're posting the YouTube video, you can pick what one or both of those episodes or like videos are. My assumption was, oh, they would just put the next one as one of those, right? That was not the case. They like,
really?
sometimes it skipped around and stuff. So that was kind of jarring, right? But I rallied and was able to recover and got through all of them. I just kind of watched them all straight through. It is interesting having them all be these little separate short videos instead of like, I hate to say it, but it'd be great if there was a super cut, right? Of just all of them in one video, so that so I could just like watch them all without having to click through a bunch of times. And it is kind of confusing to me what the strategy is from Adult Swim to release them all as individual pieces, but all on the same day. Right? Like I would get if, you know, in a Disney Plus-esque brand strategy, you decided to slow roll these out every couple of days over the course of a few weeks or months to fill in those gaps. But I'm sure there's a bit of a strategy there between how much legs can you get out of 2.5 minutes of content between them before it becomes less interesting, or like you're not gonna have fans being like, hey, it's Wednesday, new Vindicators 2 shorts coming out today. Maybe you are, maybe you're not. Like they're very shareable, right? Because the short length makes it easy to share. So I'd kind of be interested to see if these find their way into Adult Swim or Rick and Morty Instagram or, you know, Facebook. Like they show up on YouTube first, and then are these going to be shared across other social platforms to try and like generate more interest or excitement about the show as we hopefully start working our way towards season 6.
Yeah. I was saying this as we're looking for when we release that interview with Sarah and Erica, but like, you know, with being so short, it makes sense that they released them, you know, all together. Because I mean, if you think about releasing one episode and you're like, oh, okay. If you just watch the first episode, you'd be like, oh, that's it. Okay, well, I'll move on, and you forget about it, right? Because it's just 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
So if like they had a schedule and they piece it out, but it's still fairly quickly, right? Not necessarily in a day, but also not over the course of 6 months. Then I think you might get people to still keep coming back to the YouTube and consuming that media. And I think if this is, I'll say this as far as a marketing strategy goes, I feel like Adult Swim and the folks at Warner Media are really putting their foot on the gas as far as Rick and Morty content. They're doing a lot more. They're doing a lot more tweets. They're doing a lot. That Adidas thing that we talked about before. They're posting Rick and Morty videos too on the Facebook and on the Twitter, I feel like they're being like, okay, we're getting ready for Adult Swim
We're on
Fest.
the cusp.
Let's pull everybody back in with more content. I maybe this was to generate some excitement for it,
Yeah.
right? Like maybe they're hoping for that.
Perhaps
didn't-
we exist on the precipice of a new season.
but I don't feel like these episodes are good and I like them a lot. I don't feel like the Adult Swim, but like if these are showing on Adult Swim, correct us because we're not avid Adult Swim watchers. But if these are
Shocking, I know.
if these aren't on the TV, I feel like they did the artists and the writers and everybody that were associated with this web series a disservice, because YouTube is great. YouTube has a lot of viewers, obviously. People make lots of money. I don't feel like they did enough to get this web series out there.
Sure. Yeah. No, I don't disagree. No, that's a really good point. We through the course of this web series, we do get introduced to a few new characters, characters that some are referenced in the Vindicators 3 episode of Rick and Morty. But we actually get to see these characters. We get to hear from them. Those characters, of course, Lady Katana, Diablo Verde, and Calypso. Any of these characters stand out to you, or that you found particularly cool or interesting?
I liked Lady Katana because they talk about her in the very beginning, and she has an argument with some of the other Vindicators at the very very start because she is a cyborg with regular katanas.
No, they're like super like powerful katanas. No, they're just regular katanas, but I'm a cyborg. So, Diablo Verde is a very interesting dynamic character that I don't know. He's just like a whole lot of different things in one package, and he's we could probably do a character study on Diablo Verde for a full episode. But yeah, unfortunately, after Girls' Night, well, you'll just have to watch it and find out.
We don't see them again.
Yeah.
But no spoilers there. those new characters, and we talked to Sarah and Erica about potentially seeing new characters, and they were kind of they kind of avoided the subject a little bit. They're like, I just have to watch, you know.
Yeah.
So among the plot topics of the series of the 10 episodes, we see things like the love triangle between Supernova, Alan Rails, and Million Ants.
Yeah. It's present. It's current, right? It's not talked about in the past. We are seeing, the effects of that unfold in real time, 2 minutes at a time.
Yeah, actually, before we go any further, so that's the thing. We talk about this being Adult Swim markets at it as a sequel to the prequel, or a prequel to the sequel. Or it was,
That's it.
And really, this is not an alternate universe. This is actually what happens leading up to the episode of Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
So there are bits and pieces that reference the episode and then give you an understanding and context where I haven't watched the episode again, but I want to watch the episode again to see how it changes my feelings on the episode.
Yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't thought about doing that either. Yeah.
So going back to the plot topics, we talk about the love triangle. Supernova talks about losing her baby. So there's a pregnant Supernova. How we deal with that. There's talk about loss. There's a theme about loss. I'm not gonna say this piece, but they talk about they show how Doomnometron is killed.
Yep.
And specifically, it shows how heroes are imperfect throughout the series.
Yeah, which I think was, an existing theme or plot from even the early the first Vindicators episode, but they continue to push that even further with these episodes. So, yeah.
Man, I'm thinking about the episode, and I'm thinking about the theme of this web series, and it's one of those things where if you watch the episode after watching the web series, you'll be like, yeah, no, Rick is right. Like Rick Rick was completely in the right when he tried to get Morty to forget about the Vindicators. So we'll talk about that. let let's talk about some of the best bits from the episodes.
Yeah, these could dabble into some spoiler territory. So if you haven't watched them and you don't want to be spoiled on any of the laughs or anything like that, just go ahead and like fast forward like 3 or 4 minutes, and
Yeah.
and then we'll catch you on the other side.
But just know that these episodes are 2 minutes long, so it's the shortest spoilers you'll ever see. The first bit, I agree with you on this, Travis.
Good. This is Crocubot's dance, right? His dance sequence, and really his entire dance episode. The first time I was like laugh out loud laughing at this show, where I was just like, this is absurd in the best way, right?
Yeah. I the choreography, just the angst, the passion in an episode, just top notch. Shout out to the animators there. The second best bit here being Alan Rails using his powers within a spaceship, and with the quote, "Give me a problem, and I'll tell you how I can solve it with a train."
Inseminating your wife, and then that throws him off the rails. That line delivered completely flatly by 1 Million Ants. Just I don't know. It's wonderful. But then this, of course, culminating in Alan Rails sending a ghost train through the hull of the ship, and almost sucking everybody in the crew out into the void of space. Is just top notch. Again, I was dying as that was happening.
Yeah, for sure. We talk about Noob. Well, we don't talk about Noob, but we should talk about Noob. He's great. That little guy. The series goes to decent lengths to show that that all the Vindicators are pieces of shit, and they don't treat Noob right.
This is true.
Noob, we find out, has a biochemical PhD.
Yeah. If they would just listen to him, if they would just give him a little Doomnometron DNA, oh, the things he could whip up.
That poor guy, and they treat him like such shit. Going into our next favorite bit, which is, I'm gonna kill Noob for telling you about podcasts.
This is gonna be my headcanon, and Sarah, Erica, if I'm wrong, please don't let us know. But we're just gonna assume that your communication with us and coming on our podcast in some way inspired this line, and that's all we need. That's as far as we need to go. We don't need to go any further. You didn't say Interdimensional RSS like on the podcast or on the show, but that's fine. That's fine.
You can't. You'd have to pay us royalties, and we understand that. Just we can feel the love.
We appreciate it.
Enough.
We appreciate it. Anyway, yeah, really good stuff. I thought the entire Noob episode was pretty funny. There are a lot of really great visual gags in that one as well. Just like the whole thing, it's pretty, like, to me, some of the tone in that episode like feels the most Rick and Morty to me, just in some of what they did. So all of that was really great stuff.
Let's talk about favorite episodes. Would you put that in your top 3 or top 2 of 10?
Yeah, I think Noob or I guess First Love, as it is properly titled, would probably be in my top 2. It's a bit of a toss up between the dance and Out of Gas, I think, for me. Like if I had to pick a top 3, that would probably be the 3. Just because of some of the interactions in Out of Gas and the visual gags with Alan Rails ghost trains and things like that. There's just some really quality stuff in there as well. So those would probably be my top 3.
All right.
What about you? You got a top 3?
I do. Out of gas is good. First Love is completely up there. That's really solid. Let's see. I won't put Mercy Kill in there, but Mercy Kill is a good episode to explain why these people are trash.
Sure. Yeah. No. Absolutely. It is.
So, but I'll keep First Love in there. I will keep the dance in there, of course, and then I agree on those 2. I actually there's something about Kintsugi, which is Alan Rails' episode, that I just really like. It is such a this is one of those episodes it's not funny. It's the most art house of the episodes. So good spoiler territory. It's a quick episode, but it's just, I don't know. Maybe it's because my grandpa just died. Whatever. I'm just like, in pensive moods. But it's Rails, right? The baby has been lost, and Rails is now kind of like going through his coping, and he's like sitting in like a forest, and he's putting together like a broken vase, and it's showing him with glue, and he's gluing back the pieces together, and it's like he's drinking like a glass of a red wine. And
yeah, well, it's really important because it's that style of, I think is it like Chinese pottery, right? Where like when a piece of pottery breaks, they glue it back together, but then they'll paint over the seams or the cracks in gold, because like they highlight, like the purpose behind that is like the belief is that those cracks they add character, they add to the piece, right? And that it adds to the beauty of it. So
so Kintsugi is the Japanese art of putting broken pottery pieces back together with gold.
Okay, yeah.
It's a metaphor for embracing your flaws and imperfections. You won't realize your potential until you go through the tough times. So he puts this broken pottery back together, very, very calmly with a glass of red wine, and then he sets it on the pedestal, and then he breaks it with a ghost train, and then he just takes a sip of wine, starts picking up the pieces again, and it sits back down and starts gluing it back together.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, that red wine looks so good. And so
maybe it's speaking to your love of red wine and your emotional development as you age. I
immediately went to go that night. I'm like, I want some red wine. So I went to the local booze and liquor place, and I got this bottle of red blend called King Chancho, which is what I have in my hand now.
There you go.
It hit the spot, and it's now my favorite wine. And maybe because of the episode Kintsugi, who knows? I don't know. Maybe that's it.
I feel like this episode is really either going to be loved or really disliked by fans. I appreciate the art. I appreciate the message behind it. However, sort of like, I wasn't expecting it maybe, and I was expecting more like laughs and things like this, and it really just took like an emotional tangent from some of the other shorts. So I probably would have put this very low on my list, but after this conversation, I'm willing to move it up.
Move it into the top,
at least the 9th spot now. So.
Would this have been your 10th?
No? I don't know that it would have. I appreciate the idea behind it. Like, I think Little Trains is almost like worse for me. In terms of like, I don't know.
Which is the episode immediately after this?
Yeah.
And I kind of agree with you on that one. Yeah, Little Trains. The worst. Well, you know what? No, Heroes. Uh, there's bits of Heroes that are really good, which you put in your best bits. Um, but I don't know. There's something about that. It was like the most pessimistic of all of them. I don't know. Or
Yeah,
maybe I wanted more to be the last episode.
Million Ants formal wear, where he just reconfigures his ants to look like he's got a tie and like a top hat on, and his really weird smile. That all of that is great. There's like this weird like slideshow looking back on their battle and everything, and the heroes they lost, which you could totally see as a thing that would happen in like a superhero award ceremony.
Yeah.
Another classic example of them completely just being awful towards Noob, right? In this scene as well. But other than that, it's sort of like
The bow tie.
the it's the obligatory medal ceremony like you would get at the end of Star Wars: A New Hope or something like that.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah. I mean, it was okay, but I guess it was the end of the 10 episodes, and I was like, oh, yeah. I guess that's it. I guess I'll go.
Yeah, there's that too.
I guess I'll go back to playing Civilization.
That's all the content I get for now. Oh man.
Right.
But it does raise the question, and we talked to it a little bit earlier. Do you feel like these 10 shorts, now that they're all out and we've seen them, does this make the original Vindicators episode better? Like having this additional context, does it elevate that episode for you, or is it I don't know, does it kind of stand alone?
It changes the context of the episode,
Sure.
because as I alluded to earlier, when you first watch that Vindicators episode, you're like, you don't. It focuses on Rick ending up being an asshole, not caring about Morty so much as he cares about Noob, and he's drunk and he's reckless and he's being a piece of shit, right? And so it ends up putting the focus on him and how bad a person he is. But that episode is really about him wanting Morty to realize that his heroes, the saying like you don't meet your heroes, like don't meet your heroes, Morty, because
Yeah.
they're not what they say, and Rick is basically anything like he is himself, to a fault. Um, so so if you just have the episode as it is, you're like, well, is Rick really right? Because it undercuts everything with the Noob stuff at the end. Is he really right? I don't know. If you watch all these episodes, these 10 episodes of the web series, you will come out of it and be like, oh, well, no, he was right.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think examples with Supernova really drive that home, right? Because throughout a good part of the Vindicators 3 episode, right? Supernova is trying to be this leader that's we're gonna do the right thing. We're trying to be reputable and honorable. And through the course of this series, like we realize Rick isn't the only one that gets blackout drunk and goes on a murder spree, right? Like there's the other people are or other heroes are equally as fault for heinous things. So I do think that these add to the episode and build upon it and can kind of play as a support for that original content as well.
Yeah, yeah. And the way Doomnometron is killed is
It's great.
it's so, it's so great and anticlimactic.
Yeah. All right. Any final thoughts before we wrap up this segment on Vindicators 2?
Yeah, I'll just say that there are some good comments in the subreddit. Marvelous Joe, talking to our question, says this retroactively made Vindicators 3 a better episode for me. Few people agreeing with Marvelous Joe. Good Style 4 says kind of want more Vindicator stuff in season 6 now. Some people saying, for me, I just want more Noob, and then somebody says, who the fuck is Noob Noob? So people saying makes you feel really really bad for Ghost Train. He had it worse. He had it worse than anyone. And we'll shout out to Loaf Pleb. Enjoy seeing the Vindicators have a lot more depth to them than what Rick claimed they lack. They're still pieces of shit, but they're written in a way that you can somewhat empathize with their actions and thought process. Deplorable as it is, rather than simply a mean-spirited jab at Marvel's success that probably made Garth Ennis proud. I hope Noob Noob comes back in the new season so he can use his knowledge of DNA sequencing to kill Supernova, maybe even form a new Vindicators that are actually heroic. So what I will say with that is all of those comments. I appreciate the web series, and I'm glad the web series is out there. And Erica and Sarah did a good job, and all the people associated with the web series. And so I do recommend it. I think your mileage may vary depending on what you think of the format and the length and the content. But overall, if you like Rick and Morty, then you'll like it.
Yeah, it's succinctly put and very well stated, Brandon. So, yeah, that's that line. You mentioned something there. Like, I feel like I had almost no sympathy for Alan Rails in the original episode because he just seemed to be like, I don't know, really angry and confrontational to Rick. This web series definitely gives you more appreciation for him as a character and some sympathy, I think, over everything that's going on. So
yeah, for sure. And I do want to put this last note out there. Sorry, all of the original voice actors from that episode were back for it. So Jillian Jacobs as Supernova, Maurice LaMarche as Crocubot, Christian Slater as Vance Maximus, Lance Reddick as Alan Rails from The Wire, or Reddit, or the Resident Evil series on Netflix, which is not a great series.
We're not talking about that.
And finally, Tom Kenny, who I hung out with at San Diego Comic-Con a long time ago.
Oh, sorry. Let me pick up that name for you. You just dropped it.
Million Ants. You talk about people who aren't recognized at a Comic-Con. Everybody knew who Tom Kenny was, and I got to have dinner and drinks with him. So, fuck off.
Weird flex. Should invite him to your retirement or something.
Great. I didn't know who he was when I was hanging out with I was like Tom Kenny, and everybody recognized him, right?
And you're like, I don't know who this guy is, but he's great. And he's like, yeah, I don't know that Brandon kid. He just treated me like a normal guy. It was really refreshing.
People recognized him from Mr. Show with Bob and Tom and SpongeBob and all these things. I only knew him from the Tonight video from Smashing Pumpkins.
All right. I mean, you're a unique guy, Brandon. That's no one's ever gonna argue it. All right. If you watched all 10 episodes, let us know your thoughts. Hit us up over on Twitter at Rick and Morty Pod, or send us an email, rickandmortypodcast@gmail.com. Love to hear your thoughts. If we missed anything, or you had additional comments, we can revisit those on a future episode. And speaking of future episodes, we are only 2 weeks away from Adult Swim Fest, East Coast edition, right? So unfortunately, Brandon and I will not be in attendance. If they'd kept it on the West Coast, the story might be different, right? But yeah, we will not be at Adult Swim Fest. But if you're going, let us know. Shoot us a tweet. Tell us what your favorite things are that you're seeing there, and then we'll be back in 2 weeks, sort of recapping all of the news or panels or other things that come out from Adult Swim Festival.
Episode.
We're really hoping for some sort of episode announcement or preview. But yeah, so that's happening August 5th, right? August 5th to the 8th. Out in, it's like 3 locations out in Philadelphia. So yeah, Fillmore campus, 4 venues, 15 shows across 4 venues. Dang.
Woo.
But yeah, that's happening, and then we'll be back in a couple of weeks to wrap it all up and share our thoughts and feedback from that. Yeah, Rick and Morty panel is sold out. Ooh, so's the Aqua Teens and Smiling Friends one. So, it can be a packed house.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. And shout out to all of you who are in attendance. which doesn't include us. But hey, if you are attending, shoot us an email at rickandmortypodcast@gmail.com, or on Twitter, send us a DM, or just shoot us a direct tweet at Rick and Morty Pod, and let us know, and we'll give you a shout out, and hey, maybe we can chat.
Yeah, if you want to be our
We'll
field
send you
correspondent for an episode, let us know. Yeah.
I've got a couple buttons I need to send out. So if you're gonna go, if you want a podcast button, I got some buttons.
We got buttons and buttons. All right, that is it for this show. We will see you, hear from you. You'll hear from us in 2 weeks, and until then, I'm Travis.
And I am Brandon. Thank you so much, and we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye. Inseminate your wife.